How we doing, guys? Welcome to DT's Daily. Now on today's show, we're going to take a look back at the games over the last couple of days. There were wins for Chelsea, wins for Real Madrid, and a win for Man City.
How we doing, guys? Welcome to DT's Daily. That's right.
So, like I said, we're going to take a look back at the games over the last couple of days. Champions League football is back. But we're going to go right back to Monday night and the last Premier League game over that match weekend. Crystal Palace against Chelsea, and Chelsea won this game 3-1, but that doesn't really tell the tale of the game. Chelsea left it very, very late. It looked like it was going to be a draw until the 91st minute when Conor Gallagher stepped up and scored his second goal of the game. Chelsea were actually losing this game at one point, and Enzo Fernandez scores a third to put a gloss on the scoreline and kind of not really paint a true reflection of what really happened. Crystal Palace are not a great side and they're really struggling, had a lot of poor performances of late, but Chelsea, they're just struggling against a lot of teams. They can put a good performance in like the one against Aston Villa in the Cup, and then they can put a performance in like this where I don't think they played that well at all. But listen, they won't look at that and think, okay, it's that bad, etc. They will go, it's 3 points, we move on. That's what Pochettino will think anyway. Some of his comments of late have been interesting. They leave you scratching your head at times. But then some comments you look at and you think, yeah, I get what he's saying. But Chelsea, they will look at that and say 3 points. Like I said, I don't think it's going to make much difference to where they finish this season. They're a top 10 side. They're not going to be fighting for relegation. They're not going to be fighting for one of the European places. And they're kind of just sat there in the middle. They'll have a good game, then they have a bad game, then they have a good game, then they have a bad game. And that's just pretty much what Chelsea's season's been. With Crystal Palace, what's going to happen with them? It's interesting because do you make the change now? Do you look to try and get a little bit of momentum moving into the final weeks of the season or months, whatever you want to call it? When you're looking at the Premier League table right now, Chelsea, like I said, they sit 10th in the league, 34 points. They are 12 points away from even a Europa League place. They're absolutely getting nowhere near a Champions League place. If they finish top 7, I think it is, it's that Conference League or whatever. So there's an opportunity there. They could possibly, get that Conference League or whatever the hell it's called now. Crystal Palace, 15th in the table, 24 points. They are only 5 points above the relegation zone. And that's got to be a worry for Crystal Palace. And like I said, it's what they do. I think their biggest, plus for them is that everybody below them isn't really doing much. There seems to be a big gap between bottom and second bottom. Sheffield United on 13 points and Burnley on 13 points. And then out of the relegation zone is Luton on 20 points. So there's only one real place, that's going to go to somebody, because I don't think Burnley and Sheffield United are getting out of it. So you've got to look at Luton, Forest, Everton, Palace, even Brentford. Bournemouth could get sucked into there. Although they're 8 points clear of any of them problems at the moment. So, yeah, it's going to be a bit of a worry for Crystal Palace. But, we'll see what happens over the coming months of the season. Next up, we go to the Champions League games last night. And, like I said, it's so good to see it back. And Arsenal, of course, are next week. But last night it was Real Madrid, Leipzig, and Copenhagen and Man City. So that was good to get to see Champions League football again. I'll start with the Leipzig game against Real Madrid, and they won this game 1-0. But the first half in particular, Real Madrid were poor. Leipzig had a goal disallowed, and I'm still trying to work out why. It definitely wasn't offside. There's talk that it could have been an infringement on the goalkeeper. Like, how's your luck? How on earth are you getting away with that? Yeah, I'm not too sure. You can't be given a foul for that. But Real Madrid in the second half, they were, a much better side. Much more dominating, much better. And you can see why they are the best in the Champions League. They always just know how to get the job done. They always know how to get over a line and just be able to do something when they might not be, at their best, shall we say. And that's exactly what they were able to do. Man City against Copenhagen, 3-1 win for Man City. I think this one was inevitable. I don't think that Copenhagen were going to be able to beat another Manchester club. And Man City, they just kept the ball and just wore them down. First 10 minutes, they were 1-0 ahead with De Bruyne. Big mistake from Ederson. Lets Copenhagen back into the game and they equalise. And then right on the stroke of half-time, a bit fortuitous with the way the ball fell to him. But brilliant goal, put them 2-1 up. And then the second half was just very much Man City keeping the ball and just wearing them down. And then went into injury time and you thought, okay, they're going to take 2-1 back to Manchester. And that will still be enough. I know we don't have the away goals rule now or anything like that, but there's no way that, Man City are going to lose this game at home. And then Phil Foden steps up and scores a third goal to put the icing on the cake. And I think that tie is very much done and dusted. Man City will be in the quarterfinal. And there's going to be some interesting games. There's just, when you're looking at some of the sides that are there now, and Arsenal, of course, next week is going to be a difficult game at Porto. But if you get into those quarterfinals, that's where it gets really serious. That's where, there's no real weak side in there anymore, shall we say. With all due respect to Copenhagen and teams like that, there's no real weak sides. It's going to be big games. And then you've kind of got to deal with Premier League at the same time. Do you get a home nation? So do we face Man City if we get through or both of us get through? Tonight's games, Lazio against Bayern Munich and Paris Saint-Germain against Real Sociedad. I'm interested to see that game. That won't be an easy one for PSG. But again, you look at the calibre of the teams in there, Bayern Munich, PSG. It's where it gets really, really serious, like I was saying. And I'm looking forward to it. But Man City got the job done. And I'll wait and see what happens with tonight's game. So, listen, that is pretty much it for today's DT's Daily. As usual, let me know in the comment section what you think about the games. What did you make of them? And what do you make of Arsenal's chances in the Champions League? So, listen, if you're new around here, hit the subscribe button. Make sure you smash a like on this video. And I will see you lot soon. I'm out of here.